talk about HRA, HSRA. Then we'll talk about this book, The Trial of Bhagat Singh. Something interesting out of it. You don't have to read it, but at least I'll try to give you an alternative perspective and something new about the Lahore conspiracy case. And thereafter, we'll do previous year questions also. councils. However, the no changers very simply said that power corrupts. And their argument was that if you will enter the legislative zone itself, you will become drunk with power, you will like this power, and maybe you will become a loyalist yourself. So Swarajists want to be the termite which eat the British government from within. And rather the no changers said that let it be the way it is. It is about creating a political front. Now you tell me who has a better understanding of politics here. Because no changers have their own understanding that yes, constructive work is important, but that will in turn also lead to corruption of the concept. However, the Swarajists are much more smarter, and they understand that basically the central legislative assemblies, these places have been filled up with loyalists. We can create a new front. We can still inspire the people from within the councils. And this is the basic logic of the Swarajist: obstruction. Obstruction, everything which they do, they have to obstruct. So, Swarajist is enter the councils and don't let a bill pass. Don't let any of the subjects on which the legislative assembly can do under hierarchy, let them not pass anything. Just halt and create a lot of problems for the British. It's about hurdles. You know that via hierarchy, does the provincial legislative councils have real power or not? You tell me. Do they actually have real power or not? They technically don't have any real power. However, the Swarajists would say that let us still not allow the British to work within that structure. And the no changers, on the other hand, their basic logic is let us get ready for the next movement, which is CDM. Power will corrupt you. You will start to think like a Britisher. The British will suck you into the politics of their empire. Stay away from it. And that is your way of showing boycott. Basically, they say that you basically show your displeasure with boycott. But the Swarajists were saying something. The Swarajists were saying one thing. If you are boycotting, is it really allowing the British to not work? If the INC is going to boycott, will the seats go vacant? You tell me. Will the seats go vacant? No, they won't. Because someone else will fill it up, and the British used to technically nominate people or actually encourage people who were proper British loyalists. There will always be British loyalists in India, and they were going to fill it up with the loyalists. And basically, it was becoming a happy family. Everybody is fighting outside, but within the house, everything was fine. It was about creating ruckus. It was about creating issues. It was about venting your political stress. Getting my point? Obstructionist politics in India within the PLC, Provincial Legislative Council, Central Legislative Assembly, and no changes were not. No, let's stay away. Let's not do anything. Let's boycott the councils. Let's keep the NCM program alive. Are we all getting the logic here? Okay. Now, the Swarajist agenda, and as I said, I will give you the larger picture first, then we'll go into the PPT. First, basic details, and then into the nitty-gritty. The Swarajist agenda was first picked up in the Gaya session. In the Gaya session in December of 1922, the Gaya session, the Swarajists will say that we plan to contest elections and this is our program. However, at the Gaya session, I'll talk about Gandhi. Gandhi is going to sit on the fence, Abhinav. I'll talk about Gandhi. Gandhi knew that if he takes sides, the INC will again split. And I'm coming to that. Now, Gaya session, December 1922, simply, the British knew rather the INC no changers knew that the Swarajist agenda is too radical. So in the Gaya session, the Swarajist agenda is going to get defeated and they will not be allowed to contest elections within this concept. The Swarajists, therefore, in protest on 1st January 1923, C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru both will resign from the INC and find their own party called the Swarajist Party. But the larger name of this party was Swarajya Party. It was even called Khilafat Swarajya Party. Now, in the background, the Khilafat issue was going to go under the radar because Khilafat, what is going to happen is Kamal Pasha is going to rise in Turkey and he will make Turkey into a secular state and abolish the Caliphate. So basically, the Khilafat issue will die down by 1924 and a secular Turkish state is going to come into existence. Therefore, something had to be done. Something had to be done. So, Swarajists say we want to contest elections. No changers say no. Gaya session, Swarajist agenda is defeated. So, on 1st January 1923, they form C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru are going to find what is called establish what is called the Swarajist Party. Swarajist Party. Now, see, everybody knows that the Swarajist Party can fight the election separately. As a separate entity, they can fight this election. Now, the point is that if they fight the election separately, the division has not happened. Only the agenda has got defeated. The agenda is got defeated by the no changers. The no changers. They wanted the no changers to basically adopt the policy. Adopt the policy. So, see, non-cooperation, no fighting election. Swarajists say we want to fight election. Gaya session, the Swarajists propose that we should fight elections. However, the Swarajist agenda will be defeated by the no changers. The no changers will say, no, we don't want to contest the elections. In protest of that, on 1st January 1923, Swarajists will form a separate, or what we call as C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru will find a separate party, the Swarajist Party, with the agenda of now fighting the elections irrespective of anything. Logic being, we will do obstructionist politics. We are not dumb that we will get corrupted. We will still try to be what we are, and we will now create a new front of battle, which is the Legislative Council and Assembly. Are we all clear till this point? That the logic I already told you, it will become a question as soon as the Gaya session comes. However, Gaya session, their agenda will be defeated. They now understand the INC will not support their concept. So they find a new party itself. Basic point is clear. Jawaharlal Nehru is not involved in this right now. He and Subhash Chandra Bose were secondary at this point of time. Jawaharlal Nehru will emerge as a very important personality in 29. I will tell you that once his father is going to disappoint him with regards to Dominion status and Nehru report. I will tell you that. But as of right now, do you understand the logic of the Swarajist no changes? Do you understand the Swarajist agenda getting defeated in Gaya session and the Swarajist party being formed? It is, Shalu, it is being formed as a separate entity within Congress as of right now. As of right now. We all on the same page, then we move forward. Okay. Now, the Swarajists know that they can split up with the Congress. They can split up with the Congress. And the Swarajists and no changers both meet Gandhi in the jail. Gandhi is in jail. And neither does Gandhi condemn what the Swarajists are doing. And neither does he endorse what the Swarajists are doing. And neither does he endorse what the no changers are doing. And neither is he saying yes or no. Because Swarajists knew, Gandhi knew that if he takes a side, then the INC will automatically split. It will split into Swarajist no changes. And an INC which is split or has split up into two is going to weaken the national cause. So Gandhi, as of right now, sits on the fence. Gandhi, as of right now, sits on the fence. The much more radical element, the Swarajists, say that Gandhi has not endorsed our program, but not even what we call as condemn it. At the same point of time, the no changers say that Gandhi has not endorsed our program also. Both realize their role is important. And that is why between January to September, there's a lot of dialogue which is happening between the Swarajists and no changers. And they realize that we can't do a Surat split here. We can't repeat the Surat split here. And therefore, in September of 1923, there will be a compromise between the Swarajists and no changers, in which the no changers say that though we will not become part of the program, but the Swarajist party can fight from within the Congress. So I'm again repeating this story. Disillusionment because of the INC, because of the non-cooperation movement. Two major strands develop. Do something, not do something. Do something is the Swarajists. Let us enter back the legislative assemblies and legislative councils. Second is that we should go for Gandhi's constructive program. Agenda will be brought up in the Gaya session. The Swarajist agenda will be defeated. They will form a new party. However, they are, as of right now, not coming out of the Congress, but there's a possibility for that. Gandhi is approached by both. Gandhi does not endorse either or condemn either. He's sitting on the fence. Therefore, the INC realizes for the first time, being mature, they realize that they don't need to split up over this issue. Swarajist party can act like a wing of the INC. The INC embodies the no changers. The Swarajists embody the Swarajist agenda of contesting the elections. If this is clear, I read it out from the PPT to you. Gaya session is of the INC. INC has session every year. Gaya session. Are we all on the same page? Because then I go to the PPT. We'll just read this basic part and it will start to make sense to you. Okay, perfect. Now, see. In the aftermath of Chauri Chaura, most Congress leaders firmly believed and still were behind Gandhi. However, disillusionment will break away. But basically, why are we doing all this when Gandhi is going to take out or take away anything at any point of time? Motilal Nehru, C.R. Das formed the Swaraj Party, rejecting Gandhi's leadership in a way, in the larger context of things. And the Ali brothers also became very fierce critics of Gandhi, saying that Gandhi withdrew the movement at the wrong movement or at the wrong moment. In March of 1922, Gandhi will be arrested and sentenced to 6 years in jail. And the central theme of the whole concept is the Khilafat, and both the Punjab wrongs will dissipate. In 1922 itself, Mustafa Kemal Pasha is going to become the Sultan of Turkey, and Turkey will become a secular state. And therefore, by becoming a secular state with a proper European style of legal system, and in 1924, Khilafat or Caliphate is going to be abolished, with education nationalized and modern agriculture industries developed. With Turkey becoming a modern secular state, the Khilafat issue was gone. The Khilafat issue was gone because what they were trying to do, they will automatically change them. And the Punjab wrongs and the NCM has been withdrawn back. So there will be two parts to the same story. One is called the Khilafat Swarajya Party, and the other are called the No Changers. Now you see their approach vis-a-vis each other. One section led by C.R. Das, Motilal Nehru and Ajmal Khan wanted to end the boycott of legislative councils so that the nationalists could enter them and expose the basic weakness of these assemblies and use these councils as an arena of political struggle to arouse popular enthusiasm. They wanted, what is used in their words, end or mend these councils. If the government did not respond to the nationalist demands, they would obstruct the working of these councils, and they were called the Swarajists. On the other hand, the other school of thought, which was about concentrating of Gandhian constructive work, Vallabhbhai Patel, Rajendra Prasad, M.A. Ansari, no changes opposed council entry, advocating concentrating on constructive work, continuing the boycott of non-cooperation, quiet preparation for the civil disobedience movement which is going to come. So that is why they are called no changes, because they don't want to change what is the status quo. And they want to change their own understanding itself. So is the basic agenda clear in the examination? If they ask you the difference between Swarajists and no changes, you can answer that, right? Because this is a place from where both prelims and mains questions can be made. That is the basic point, right? So Turkey changes itself into a secular state. Intern Khilafat issue gone, and till today it is. And simple point of the matter is Congress wrong issue is also gone. So the Punjab wrongs and the Khilafat issue dissipate. So the non-cooperation movement dissipates. Two approaches are there, first and second. Now, as I said, the friction between these two can be seen as soon as the question is going to come in the Gaya session of the INC. The question with regards to council entry, who should enter the council, is going to be taken up by the Swarajists. But once this will get defeated by the no changers, on 1st January 1923, C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru resigned from the presidentship, secretaryship respectively of the Congress and announced to form a new party with C.R. Das as the president, Nehru as the one of the secretaries. This is Motilal Nehru, remember. Now, what is the Swarajist argument? Again, I'm reiterating, very important discussion for prelims and mains both. Very easy area, very simple area. Now, Swarajists argued, as I said, entering the councils wouldn't negate the non-cooperation movement. In fact, it would be carrying the movement forward, opening a new front. Entry of nationalists would deter the government from stuffing these councils with undesirable elements who give legitimacy to the government. See, the simple point, there is an internal revolution. Subarna, there is an internal revolution within Turkey where the caliphate is destroyed, and that is, the leadership is Mustafa Kemal Pasha. Now, negate means to remove. So the basic point of the matter is that their argument is very simple. If we are not entering the councils, someone else is. And if someone else is, then basically it means, remember, that the British can justify their structure. This is a very important point you need to understand, which is that the concept of the Montagu-Chelmsford reforms working is something which can come out of this argument that, see, everything is perfect. This is what the Swarajists want to change. Their only intention was to open a new arena of political struggle, and there was no intention to use it as an organ of changing colonial rule. It's all about disruption. It's not about using it, it's about disruption. Opening a new front means that they have already one front, for example, mass movement, peasant movement, workers movement, but somehow the political arena was not open, Supriya. So therefore, there will be now a movement in which they will finally have a new front in front of themselves. The new front being the Swarajists entering the councils and obstructing everything. It's about how you undercut the justification that everything is working or not. Getting my point? What is the Swarajist argument? We're doing the third time now. Okay. Now, on the other hand, the no changes argument is very simple. That parliamentary work would lead to the negation of the constructive work, loss of revolutionary zeal, and political corruption. Constructive work would prepare everyone for civil disobedience. No changes whose effective head was Gandhiji, even though in the jail, argued for the continuation of the program of boycott and non-cooperation. But Gandhi did not criticize the Swarajists very explicitly. And that is why both realized that the Gandhi was keeping a stoic, or what we call as a neutral understanding. And both sides were in touch with Gandhi in Surat, both were trying to avoid a Surat, which is a Surat split, and kept in touch with Gandhi. Both sides knew a united front is very important, and if they split up right now, it would be the victory of the British. So both knew that Gandhi's leadership is important, and both knew a united front is important. And that is why in September of 1923, in Delhi, they will go for a compromise. And the compromise is very significant. Swarajists were to be allowed to contest elections as a group within the Congress, and they would now go for the first round of elections, which are going to happen in November of 1923. But there will be 1923, 1924, and 1925. 3 years, different types, there were elections planned. And basically, now the Swarajists can contest it. Are we all on the same page? Swarajists, in a way, support the British setup by the Britishers. No, Jonas, they don't want to support it. They want to expose it. That the whole structure is just a gimmick. It is just a drama which the British is doing. All representative bodies in India are just a big drama, and that is what they wanted to do. Swarajist Party till this point was unofficially part of the Congress, now officially a wing within the Congress. Right? Yes, Devansh, yes. Are you getting my point? It's not that they are supporting. It's not that they're supporting. It's about ending or mending and going forward. But they negated the Legislative Council. The Britishers will become ready to rend. No, Harshita, that is the basic point. The structure of the Legislative Council is such that it is a futile experiment. See, I'll give you a basic point. I'll give you a very simple point. If the Swarajists don't enter the Legislative Councils, will the people get to know that the Legislative Council is working the way it is, or good or bad? You tell me. Swarajists and no changes within, yes, Suvarna. No, because if everything is going fine, the media will not cover the Legislative Council itself. Simple point of the matter is the Swarajists want to expose the British. That is the basic point here. It's about exposing the British, that you see that all this structure you've created, Montagu claims for reform, legislative jurisdiction, ordinance, bicameralism, executive council, reserved and transferred, all of this is just a drama. Basically, all institutions in India are useless and just a gimmick of democracy. Democracy was an illusion, yes, and public opinion needed to be motivated. And yes, Swarajists will make the law-making process difficult. As of right now, if the Swarajists don't enter the councils will still work, the councils will still pass laws, and everybody will think, yes, representative government works in India. But it was about taking that argument out of the hand of the British. It is about taking the moral justification away that the councils don't actually work. It's about exposing the British. Are we all now on the same page? And that is why Gandhi also knew that the Swarajists make sense. Gandhi knew that the Swarajists actually make sense because the constructive program only keeps the INC away from the political arena. That is the basic point. If you're a political party, you try to show to the people that the system doesn't work. And that is what the Swarajists are trying to point out. They were in touch with Gandhi because they know that Gandhi is that person. If he endorses the program, it will work. Now, can I go to the next step? Because Gandhi will very soon endorse this program also. All are on the same page. Nobody wants a split. Okay, now. NCM has been suspended. Swarajists no changes are now the new reality of the INC. Swarajists have now finally been given sanction that you can contest the elections from within the Congress. However, Gandhi is still not saying anything. Now what is going to happen is that in 1924, the first round of elections, I will show you their performance also. The first round of elections, Swarajists will do very well because the people recognized them and knew who they were. But in 1924, 2 years into his imprisonment, Gandhi being Gandhi will be released. Will be released by the British because he was becoming too ill in the jail. So on health grounds, Gandhi will be released in September of 1924. That this person will die in our jail, and if Gandhi dies in the jail, people will literally burn the British. That is the power of Gandhi at this point of time. We already know that Gandhi had an aura, has a certain power over the Congress itself and over the people. The peasants would not leave the British alive. So 1924, basic point of the matter is Gandhi is released. Gandhi still did not say anything. Gandhi still did not say anything. But in October of 1924, there will be an ordinance which will be issued by the Viceroy. And under this ordinance, multiple revolutionaries, multiple no-changers, multiple Swarajists, a lot of the leadership will be picked up, beaten up, tortured. High level of repression is going to come in 1924. High level. And when Gandhi will see this type of repression, he will open his front, and for the first time in November of 1924, after the frustration of seeing innocent leaders and even no-changers getting beaten up or being prosecuted or being tortured by the British, in November of 1924, Gandhi will finally endorse the Swarajist agenda. And he said that now in 1924-25 elections, whatever the elections are going, I support the Swarajists. And therefore, in the elections which are going to follow 1924-25, there will be a whole flurry of Indian leaders entering the whole legislative councils, even the provincial legislative council or the imperial legislative council, and their performance, and they will literally create havoc within the imperial structure. Swarajists never got corrupted, but they were extremely very good in making sure that the chaos could be projected to the people. In 3 different councils, they will defeat the budget itself. And in close to 6 different instances, they will even stop the laws from passing. And therefore, once Gandhi's endorsement will come, Swarajists will go to the next level itself and start to make the new front, the new arena actually productive. So, Gandhi was initially not happy or was initially opposed to the concept of council entry. However, after being released from the prison in February of 1924, properly released, meaning his release papers were in February, he will come out properly by June, July, but in public eye in September. On health grounds, he moved towards the reconciliation with Swarajists. He felt that public opposition to council entry would actually be a counterproductive concept, because if he says that Swarajists are useless, then they are useless. However, when the government will promulgate an ordinance on 25th October 1924, in which house searches, Congress offices, arrests, large number of revolutionaries, Swarajists, congressmen, even Subhash Chandra Bose, two Swarajists, including the Bengal, Anil Baran Roy and R.C. Mitra, not very radical INC members, but all will be picked up and tortured. Their houses will be technically ransacked. How the IB and the CID raids a house, they will literally destroy their houses. Proper mental harassment will happen. And this will anger Gandhi. And finally, he will express his solidarity with the Swarajists. And he will say, in November of 1924, Gandhi brought the strife between Swarajists and no changes to the end by signing a joint statement with Das and Motilal Nehru that the Swarajist party is now fighting on behalf of the Congress as an integral part of this Congress. And at Belgaum session, the Swarajists will now win majority of the seats in the Central Working Committee of the Congress. The Congress has now been dominated and has changed into a Swarajist heaven, and now Swarajists will dominate INC politics. So before I go to the performance, can we all understand and envisage this transition from this conflict between the Swarajist no changers to how that changed later? Simple point of the matter is Swarajist had a point. The point was to basically enter the legislative assembly, obstruct everything. No changes wanted to be true to Gandhi. Gandhi sat on the fence. But once the ordinance is going to lead to the harassment of INC members, Gandhi is going to get angry, and that will lead him to say, okay, go and wreak havoc. Now you have rather my basic sanction, and now the Congress will pivot from no changers to Swarajists. Is this clear? Perfect. My blessings are with you. Go. Okay. Now, if you look at the performance of the Swarajists, initially it is extremely good, which is that the Swarajists will be able to manage 42 out of the 101 elected seats and a clear majority in the provincial assembly of central provinces. They were the largest party in Bengal and fared quite well in Bombay, UP, though not in Madras and Punjab, because there's a separate type of politics there. United Province. In the Central Legislative Assembly, the Swarajists succeeded in building a common front with independents such as Jinnah, the Liberals, and individuals such as Madan Mohan Malviya. They built similar coalitions in most of the provinces, and that in turn will lead to C.R. Das to become the mayor of Calcutta, with Subhash Chandra Bose as his CEO. Vittalbhai Patel is going to become the president of Bombay Corporation. Vallabhbhai Patel, who was a no-changer initially, he will change and he will contest elections to win the presidentship of the Ahmedabad municipality. Rajendra Prasad, again a no-changer, now a Swarajist, will contest and become the president of the Patna municipality, and Jawaharlal Nehru at the Allahabad municipality. Now you can see, you don't have to learn this, obviously don't have to learn this. You can see their performance is very good. They all contest elections and they're able to become CEOs, even the mayor and the presidents of most of these councils, which means that the Swarajists have now been able to capture power within the council. Now what they will do is they will now wreak havoc. With coalition partners, they outvoted the government several times, even on matters of budgetary grants and adjournment motions. They agitated through powerful speeches on self-government, civil liberties, industrialization. Vittalbhai Patel will get elected as the Speaker of the Central Legislative Assembly, a very, very coveted position. They will even defeat the Public Safety Bill in 1928, which was aimed to deport people who had suspicious or undesirable character or foreigners, which I will tell you is related to what was happening with regards to Russia, which is socialists and communists. The basic point of the matter is, the Swarajists will be able to show that yes, this arena works. This arena works. Jawaharlal Nehru, a Swarajist. Now, simple point. Before I go to the achievements of no changers, I'll give you a question here. And if you can answer this question, you can then basically understand this concept itself. Can I give you the question? Because hereafter it's the failure, responsivist, non-responsivist, and then no changes. Are we all on the same page here? It's a very simple area, very simple concept. It's about what to do with Indian nationalism. So I'll give you a question here and you see what type of question can come. See, the question is very simple. The Swarajists via their politics were successful in creating a new front in Indian nationalism. Discuss in the context of what we call as Swarajist and no changers debate. 250 words. Can you write this answer? They are contesting against Indians. It's about loyalists versus the INC. Shivam, not technically. Though there were certain provinces where there was actually straightforward alignment, not all are happening together. Do we need to learn the achievements? No, technically not. Just have to understand the word which you have to write is they will dominate legislative assembly, obstruct politics. You have to talk about the concept of Swarajist first. See, in this type of a question, I'm telling you, wait. In this type of a question, you first have to give them the context, which is, you will say, Swarajists emerged out of the INC. They emerged out of the INC with the agenda to remove the boycott of the legislative assembly and councils. They were called, because it says this line, debate, it is asking you to debate also. That is why you need to discuss it. So you will say they were opposed to the no changers who wanted to take the boycott of councils forward. The basic agenda of this Swarajist was to obstruct the politics and to make sure that they can create a new front. Now that you've used the word new front, then only you can talk about that, yes, once Gandhi's endorsement came in 1924, the Swarajists will perform very, very well. And you sprinkle the names which you know. You say Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose, Motilal Nehru, Rajendra Prasad, Vittalbhai Patel, Vallabhbhai Patel will become presidents of different presidency assemblies or municipalities. You don't have to go into the specificities. I will have a specific session, designated session with you on answer writing. Don't worry. That is why I'm planning for next Saturday. But the basic point of the matter is, do you understand the question? Because understanding the question is the first part of writing an answer. Because here you have to understand that they are talking about a new front. You can't just talk about their achievements. Because the question says discuss. I will have a session, I'll have a discussion with you with regards to what is discuss, critically analyze. Though I've already told you this, I will have a designated half an hour, 45 minute discussion with you. But as of right now, do you understand the concept of Swarajists and no changers? Yes, you do. Because hereafter, what we do is just their downfall. Simple point is, these are the types of questions you can expect from this area. What did the Swarajists achieve? What is the difference between Swarajist, no changer? Swarajist was successful in creating new front. In the examination, you would have to explain this concept of new front. Why is it a new front in that sense? So decoding the question is the first part of writing an answer, right? Can I move forward? And don't worry, I will have a proper discussion with you with regards to answer writing. Okay. It created a new front. Yes, very good. Now, the problem with the Swarajists is that between 1925, late 1925, maximum 1926, and by 1928, and fully by 1930, they will destroy themselves properly. Which is that the first problem which the Swarajists will develop in late 1925, 1926 is called the concept of responsivists and the concept of non-responsivists. I will give you, once this topic is over, I'll make a box and I will write everything down in it so that you have basic summary at one place. So, responsivist and non-responsivist. What is the concept of responsivist, non-responsivist? The concept is very simple. The people who wanted, or Swarajists who wanted to take up communal or religious matters in the councils are called the responsivists, while the non-responsivists are who only wanted to obstruct and not be communally conscious or endorse religion-based laws. Now you see how, in a way, the no changers were also right, because the Swarajists will get divided into two. Some will start to push communal matters. For example, laws which were either favoring a certain religion, and some would not want that to happen. As it is, by 1925, late 1925, C.R. Das is going to die, and the agenda of the Swarajists is automatically going to get diluted. But they will start to destroy themselves from within, because they will now start to get divided on issues and matters they need to obstruct. So it was about what to obstruct and what to endorse. And over this issue of obstruct and endorse, they will get this divided into responsivists and non-responsivists. This will first weaken their agenda. The second is going to be when in 1929, Jawaharlal Nehru, out of the frustration of the Nehru report, is going to go for the Purna Swaraj resolution, Lahore session, which I will discuss with you, but on Monday. The Swarajists will technically say that we don't want this concept of Purna Swaraj. I'll talk about the concept of dominion and how the INC has this conservative streak within it. And they will leave the Congress in 1930. And after leaving the Congress over the agenda of Purna Swaraj, the Swarajists will die down automatically. So the Swarajists will, though there be a party in the background, they will more or less become useless by 1926. Simple point of the matter is they had already done what they needed to do, which is to rejuvenate and give a lot of emphasis and fuel to the national movement between 1922 to 1925. However, by 1925-26, they will start to get divided within themselves. And by 1929, they will fully disagree with Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose, which is going to in turn lead to them leaving the party. And thereafter, their historical role ends there. So, very simply, the point is that C.R. Das will die in 1925, but the Swarajists were slowly but surely within the councils becoming more and more communally conscious with riots happening, and they will get divided into responsivists and non-responsivists. Responsivists such as Lala Lajpat Rai, Madan Mohan Malviya, Kelkar advocated cooperation with the government and holding the office responsible to protect Hindu interests. This is the effect of Muslim League. On the other hand, Motilal Nehru, a non-responsivist, would say that we don't want to protect or obstruct or endorse. We don't want to endorse anything. It's about protecting and endorsing and obstructing. And this is the problem, that basically they will now get divided. The British will be successful in creating a divide within the Swarajists over the issue of elections, over the issue of religion. And this is the problem. This is the problem, that they don't understand that they are technically weakening the resolve of the national movement, but still their understanding is very, very naive and very simplistic in that sense. Thereafter, as I said, the main leadership will more or less lose faith in the civil disobedience movement itself. By March of 1926, they were more or less very weakened, and their performance in the election will also be very, very bad. They will only be able to win 40 seats at the center and will get defeated everywhere else. By 1930, the Swarajists will leave the Congress over Purna Swaraj and civil disobedience, and that in turn will lead to basically problems, or they will basically have exhausted their historical role in this story. Now again I'm trying to repeat this whole story, but this time I'm going to write it down with the no changes so that you can understand the concept. Is the basic point clear? Tell me one thing. Are you able to see their decline? Are you able to see their rise? And are you able to see their basic point? So Rajists have an important role to play in this whole story, and that is the basic point here. Simple point is, it's not that the no changers were also not doing anything. In the background, the no changers were also doing a lot of things, which is that they were building up ashrams, they were training young men and women of among the tribals, lower castes, into charkha and khadi work. For example, we have the Vedchi ashram in the Bardoli Taluk, where Chinmanlal Mehta and these, you don't have to remember this name, do not remember. But Chinmanlal Mehta and Bhatt will develop an entire community based on spread of education, the concept of Ravi Shankar Maharaj talking about lower caste getting linked up with the larger concept of society. National schools will be developed. Significance of Hindu-Muslim unity will be talked about. Constructive work will happen, lead to Khadi Bandars, students, teachers, Gandhian ashrams will develop. So they are not also sitting idle. But as their larger context, they basically are backstory. Now let me do one thing before we go to Simon Commission. Let me make a box for you, and it will start to make sense. And this is what you actually need to remember. Can we consolidate? Simply, Swarajist no changes are filler between 1922 to 25, 26, 27 maximum. And simple point of the matter is, Swarajists obstruct the politics, no changes do Gandhian work, and thereafter both lose their basic concept by 1927. That's the basic point. Okay. I'll give you a summary here, don't worry, and it will automatically make sense. Okay. Both were necessary, that is the basic point. Now, Swarajists no changers. Swarajist no changer. Okay. Now, first point. They want to, or what, not stop, but end the boycott of the councils, enter into councils and create a new front of nationalism. While the no changers, very simply, they want to simply take the non-NCM program forward, not change the boycott program and do Gandhian constructive work in ashrams. Thereafter, obstruct and create a mess within the councils to show that these councils are not democratic and expose the British. Entering into councils would dilute the nationalist agenda and corrupt the national goal of civil disobedience. Then third, Gandhi initially did not endorse their program. Only after October 1924 ordinance he endorsed. They work in the background to the Swarajists and do constructive work in ashrams, khadi, tribal and lower caste focus. Can we now basically see the difference between the two? I can't be more thorough. I've literally written it down for you. 1924 ordinance, there will be a proper repression from the government of India on the Congress. Gandhi will lose it. If we agree to this, then I give you one flowchart for the Swarajists and their journey from rise to decline. If you learn this table, Pragya, your work is already done. Yes? Perfect. Now, just one small slide to summarize their journey. Swarajists, emerge in 1922 with agenda to obstruct. Then Gaya session, their agenda is defeated. September of 1920, rather not September, January of 1923, establish a new party called Swarajist Party or Swaraj Party. September 1923, Delhi Compromise between Swarajists and No Changers, elections from within. Prashant, once we've done with this part, once Simon Commission is done, then I will do the questions with you. Election from within the Congress. Gandhi did not endorse initially, but in November of 1924, after governmental repression on INC, formal endorsement thereafter, simple point, good performance in the councils, but 1925 C.R. Das will die and they will split up into two, responsivists and non-responsivists. They will start to get split on communal agenda and thereafter decline by 1930. Is this clear? Now, this is the basic movement. That is the basic agenda. Is this clear? No, they will leave because of this Purna Swaraj resolution. Everybody comfortable? If you are comfortable, I can do one thing. Because I think the questions don't include Simon Commission. I can do the previous year questions here if you want. Responsivist, non-responsivist, one want communal agenda, don't have communal agenda. Want to do yes, so let's do one thing, let's do the previous year questions. And once we've done with it, we'll take a break and we come back and go with Simon Commission and revolutionary politics. Acceptable to everybody? Okay, perfect. So now get a little bit up. You have to be a little bit now more attentive. I will use the polling feature and we'll now going to do previous year questions. Okay. Ready? All questions are covering the theme till which we have reached till here. And we will simply understand the question, answer it, but also not get discouraged by it because you need revision. But I hope that you will be able to do it. Okay. 2022 question. Consider the following freedom fighters: Birendra Kumar Ghosh, Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee, Rash Bihari Bose. Which of the above were actively associated with the Gadar party? Though one name in this I had to discuss with you just next, HRA. I know, but you don't technically need that name only. Again, Labdi knows 2. See, the answer here is D. I'll tell you why. See, Gadar movement was 1913 to 1915. Birendra Kumar Ghosh and Aurobindo Ghosh were part of which organization? Since when did Anushilon and Yugantar become the same as the involvement of Bose in sending people from Japan, and I told you Raj Bihari Bose was sitting in Japan and he was sending a lot of people, Gadarites, to India and to Canada. So the point is, automatically 1 and C, A and C should automatically get eliminated. See, it is not even that they've asked some obscure name from Anusilan or Yugantar. Birendra Kumar Ghosh and Aurobindo Ghosh. Did I write it in the slide? Yes, I did. And I told you these two brothers, the Ghosh brothers, are important. Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee, as we will see, is a member of the HRA, the Hindustan Republican Army. But the point is, 2 doesn't really matter because Raj Bihari Bose had to be there. If the option was 2 and 3 only, then it would be dangerous. But is there 2 and 3 only there in the options? No. So the 38% of you who are answering this question, I want to know the logic of putting 1 and 3. Because why are you bringing in Birendra Kumar Ghosh with Raj Bihari Ghosh? Because this is called overthinking. It's called overthinking. Because if you are knowing the name, see, obviously this is a difficult question because you've not gone through the PPT again, you've not revised. That is my presumption. But even with that, trust your information. Trust your information. This question is not difficult because Birendra Kumar Ghosh, Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee and Raj Bihari Bose all are basically standard names out of the revolutionary bodies. Anusilan, HRA, I will show it to you itself, and Raj Bihari Bose. But when I tell you this story, the purpose of giving one name one after the other is because UPSC will always concentrate on certain names. So, is this question something which is out of the box or extraordinary? Nothing. Basic point is, Jamil, if this is the only class which you didn't attend, no issues. The basic point of the matter is, what you need is revision. But what you also need is to trust your instinct, trust your data. If you know it, you overthink or you overthought, then there's a problem. Overthinking is a major issue. These are prelims questions 2022, latest question. There are 2 other questions from modern, but they are actually August Offer and Cripps mission. Simple point. Anusilan Yugantar, Birendra Kumar Ghosh, Aurobindo Ghosh. I even showed you their face. If you remember, the person with the spectacles, who was he? He was Birendra Kumar Ghosh. And Aurobindo Ghosh, I showed you his police charge sheet. So I even tried to create a certain visual memory in your mind. If you are overthinking, it's an issue. But if you need general revision, that's a separate issue altogether. Getting my point? Alipur conspiracy case, Birendra Kumar Ghosh and Ghosh. Question is not difficult, I hope. Everybody. Okay. Now, 2019. With reference to the Swadeshi movement, consider the following statements. It contributed to the revival of indigenous artisans and craft and industries. The National Council for Education was established as part of the Swadeshi movement. And these are real questions. I've not made them up. These are very standard questions which come in the examination. Come on. Which of the following statements are correct? Parth, I have not talked about Birendranath Chatterjee. I have not talked about Birendranath Chatterjee, but still, Raj Bihari Bose has to be the option. So you had to find an option with 3. Simple question, Swadeshi movement we've done, not difficult. I'll show you the leaderboard also today. There was a glitch in it, that is why I was not using it. Now that glitch is gone. Perfect. Extremely proud. Really happy. 60% C, 13, 21, 5%. Now you see how does UPSC ask a question? They didn't go into the nitty-gritty. They didn't go into anything. They basically asked you a very standard question. One is a conceptual implication. The other one is basically the concept of indigenous artisan and craft. So, Swadeshi movement was about boycott of foreign goods. Would it contribute to the revival of indigenous artisans and crafts? Yuvraj, once you've gone through the whole week, you can revise the PPT over Saturday, Sunday. Yes? Now, this is the basic point that if you will boycott, indigenous enterprises will get demand. And was the National Council for have a proper session with you with regards to mains answer writing? Do not worry. That is my prerogative. I will do it. Home Rule League movement is Tilak and Annie Besant. Please read the question properly. I give you timelines for a very specific reason. Come on, 32% of you. 60% totally correct. Hey, you tell me one thing. Partition of Bengal is first or non-cooperation is first? This is why I give you timelines. It says for the first time, where was Swadeshi and boycott used? The movement is called Swadeshi movement. Now you tell me one thing. Is the non-cooperation movement called Swadeshi movement? 32% of you are overthinking. Read the question very straightforward. You tell me, did not you know this fact? If you are getting a negative here, you are technically taking away free marks. Free marks, because it is straight away. Home Rule League is 1915, but technically there is no concept of Home Rule League Swadeshi boycott. Simon Commission I have not taught you is 1927. It says Swadeshi. What you needed to know is partition of Bengal equals to Swadeshi movement. Did we do this? Did you have this information with you? You had this information with you? So what was the issue? Did you not read the question closely, or did you get caught up in the timeline? You need to tell me. These 32% people, you please have to tell me what was because I need to systematically understand. Are you neglecting the line of first time, or are you not clear about the timeline? Because if the timeline is a problem, then you have to work on the timeline. That is why I give you a timeline in every class. I don't futile. That's not a futile process. It's a very important process. Second is, if you are not reading closely, then you are overconfident, which is also a problem. Which is also a problem. Right? Can we go to the next question? Timelines matter. Half of the questions can be done through timelines. Okay. Now, please get this correct for sure. Montagu-Chelmsford's proposals were related to social reforms, educational reform, reform in police administration, constitutional reform. And these are not... Today, a lot of you will... Jurisdictional changes, structural changes. But did the UPSC ask structural changes? Did the UPSC ask how jurisdictional changes come through? No. They asked a simple question. Not even hierarchy, neither bicameralism. All of this is constitutional reform. Constitutional reform. Social reform, Montagu-Chelmsford is not there. Educational reform, I already told you, Wohura. Reforms in police administration, there are only two only. Fraser, I will tell you, in Slington, Fraser, and that. So, these are realistic questions. Not coming out of anywhere. Can we move forward? Yashovarman, it will be then specified which Hunter Commission. Okay. Now, what was the main reason for the split in the Indian National Congress in 1907 at Surat? Introduction of communalism in Indian politics by Lord Minto. Extremist lack of faith in the capacity of the moderates to negotiate with the British government. Foundation of the Muslim League. Aurobindo Ghosh inability to get elected as the president of the Indian National Congress. Now, this is again, and if you're not able to get the question, it should not be a demoralizing moment. You need to understand it. You just need to revise. Just revise. Revise, and you will never ever feel any issue. If you're finding these questions easy, it's not easy if a student does not have proper clarity. Then these questions become hard. Wow. Treat to everybody. 80%. Progressively increasing. 5%. 80% of you are correct. Which is, everybody knows they threw a shoe because they did not have the faith in the capacity of the moderates. Communalism will be introduced by Minto not in 1906-7 but 1909. And I tell you one thing. If, for example, you are not able to come to this answer. Now I'll tell you a very simple point. Why do I give timelines? Because if you know the timeline, you can automatically see it. See, this is 1909, Morley-Minto reforms. This is 1906. And this is totally incorrect because Ras Bihari Ghosh was the president. So even if you don't know the answer, you can still use the timeline to come to the concept. Elimination. This is eliminated. This is eliminated. This is eliminated. Yes? Perfect. Now, this is how many are correct. Correct statement. Because the Simon Commission coincided with the Rowlatt Satyagraha. If you either know the timeline or you know the basic concept, you can easily come to the answer. Parth, just think about it. What is the date of Rowlatt Satyagraha and the other thing? I knew it. 45, 43, but see, this is totally incorrect. Simon Commission is 1927. This can't be there. The timeline, the beauty of the timeline, this is 1919. It is 1927. So 3 automatically gets incorrect. Now tell me one thing. Didn't I tell you that the Gandhi used the Home Rule League leaders and their basic constituency to actually take the Rowlatt Satyagraha forward? It's actually written in the PPT also. But I told you very categorically that Home Rule League was diluted by Gandhi because he took the cadre away from the Home Rule League. So you are correct that the first statement is correct. But the answer here is 1 and 2 only. Is 1 and 2 only. So it is actually not 1 only, it is 1 and 2. Is 1 and 2. Simple point. 1915, when Gandhi comes, Home Rule League movement is happening all across India. But Gandhi literally diluted the Home Rule League movement by using its own members. If you want, I can show it to you in the PPT also. It is directly written that Gandhi will mobilize Home Rule League movement leaders and constituency to go forward. Overthinking or you don't know it, you need revision. For this, you need revision. Now, if all of this is correct, can I show you the leaderboard? I technically don't need to prove, but would you like to see the leaderboard? There was an issue in my class previously. Now I've got it resolved. 48. Whatever you've got is all based on zero revision, only class understanding. And that in itself is very big. So don't compare, because the worst thing you can do in UPSC is compare. But the basic point of the matter is to just keep it simple. You need to always learn from the previous year question what to do with a certain topic. A lot of you ask me, sir, how do you know that this is not going to come? I can see it after 13, 15 years of the questions itself and teaching for now close to 8 years. Basic point of the matter is the pattern remains the same. That is the basic point. Okay. Now, we have to now discuss Simon Commission. And then we'll have a very interesting discussion with regards to HRA, HSRA and Bhagat Singh. As I said, I did get the book for you today. So we'll talk about 2-3 very interesting aspects about the trial itself. So yes, Simon Commission. Now, if you remember, can we begin, everyone? All on board, all together. You've joined back, you're comfortable, because now we go straight 1.5 hours. Okay. So when we talk about, if you remember, we were discussing Montagu-Chelmsford reforms. And within the Montagu-Chelmsford reform, there was a clause. The clause was, after 10 years, there will be a statutory commission which will be sent to check the working of the Montagu-Chelmsford reforms. Montagu-Chelmsford reforms. Now, very simply, 10 years from Montagu would be 1919 to 1929. It was about reviewing the work. It was about reviewing the working of diarchy and everything else around it. However, the only achievement, proper good achievement of the Swarajists was, the Swarajists will misuse the structure so much and create so much pressure on the British that in 1927, they will now take a call to send this statutory commission 2 years early, because the structure was extremely fragile and it was exposed. Diarchy turned out to be useless. Everything else was exposed by the Swarajists. So it is because of the Swarajist pressure that basically in 1927, the statutory commission had to come, and now it will be sent under a person called John Simon, and this will be called the Simon Commission. It is also called the Indian Statutory Commission 1927. But the problem of Simon Commission, along with the pressure which is also created because of the elections which are happening in England, so they had to do a drama in that sense. You will see both spellings, Simon, both are correct. But basic point of the matter is that Simon Commission, in that sense, in 1927, very simply, was a pressure tactic of the Swarajis succeeding, and also the elections happening in England, where they wanted to do a drama that we want to check what is happening in India. But the problem of the Simon Commission is, it is all English commission. No Indian member. So now the people will say, why are you sending a commission to check the working when there is no Indian only? This is technically like you checking your own paper. Will you ever mark yourself less? Will you ever mark yourself less? Tell me. Never. So if I have to review something, I would give it to a third party, or at least bring back or bring the Indians who can tell the experience. And now, as soon as Simon Commission will land in India, you all know the slogan. Go back, Simon. Simon, go back. That technically you do not represent the Indian mass or Indian interest. You are an all English commission which is going to check the working of an all English body, or the Montagu-Chelmsford reforms. Now, basically what is going to happen, everybody understands why Simon Commission is hated so much, because Simon Commission is nothing but the statutory commission which is coming in, should have come in 1929, comes 2 years early, and it is an all English commission. That is why there is a criticism. But what is going to happen is that because the Indians will start to say a lot of things, that you are useless, you can't make a constitution, you are just the worst in that sense. So from England, there will come, the purpose of Simon Commission is to check the review the functioning of the diarchy system, jurisdictional system, that whole structure in that sense. Now there will be a challenge which will come from, in 1927 itself, from England, from a person called Lord Birkenhead. And Birkenhead will going to ask, if it is so easy to make constitutions, why don't you make it yourself? Why do you not make it yourself? He was a part of the British government. And now basically there's a challenge which comes from the Viceroy via the challenge which is coming from the Parliament, that if it is so easy to make constitutions, you, the INC, why don't you make a constitution yourself? And that is going to be the context of a very important report and a turning point in Indian history, which is called Nehru Report, named after Motilal Nehru, 1928. Let me read this out from the PPT. It will make sense to you. See, 1927, the British will appoint an Indian Statutory Commission headed by Sir John Simon. At the time of introducing the Montagu-Chelmsford reforms, the British government had declared that there will be a commission will be sent to after 10 years to examine the effects and operations of the constitutional reform, to suggest more. So the basic purpose is review the Government of India Act 1919 and suggest legal and administrative reform for the future. Basically, the Government of India Act 1935, Government of India Act 1935 is actually based on Simon Commission report plus the white papers which I will discuss with you, the round table conferences. In 1928, this commission witnessed widespread protests because the mission did not include any Indian. All members were 7 MPs of the UK. The commission will publish its report later in May of 1930 and will even recommend the separate communal electorate concepts. But that time, the timing was not good enough. But what is more important to us is that it was going to say abolish hierarchy and propose it at the center. But the Simon Commission recommendations, I will discuss it with you when we'll talk about Government of India Act 1935. Because out of it, it makes no context or makes no sense itself. As of right now, do you understand what is the Simon Commission? Will you be able to understand a lot of times UPSC does not write Simon Commission but Indian Statutory Commission. So you will be able to see that, okay, these two are the same thing, 1927, and why it has been criticized, because there is no India. We all can agree to this? Can we all agree to this? Yes? Yashovarman will talk about that, what Simon Commission is going to recommend. Don't worry about that. Now, the Secretary of State, Lord Binkerhead, is going to challenge the Indians to produce a constitution that would be acceptable to all. And this is the basic point. The Simon Commission is writing a report in the background, but the Indians will criticize too much. And they will say, you don't know how to make constitutions. So the challenge comes from the Secretary of State. Make your own constitution. Make your own constitution. And it is in this context that an all India party and leaders meeting is going to happen. And it will be proposed at the All India Parties Conference convened for the first time at Delhi. It will be headed by Motilal Nehru, who will now be appointed as the person to write this constitution. The subcommittee will submit its report as Nehru Report. It will also have members. Please remember, you have to learn this because some of them names comes through. Tej Bahadur Sapru, Subhash Chandra Bose, who will later lead this or leave this commission because he did not agree with the recommendations. A.S. Eni, Mangal Singh, Ali Imam, Qureshi, G.R. Pradhan. And this will be then kept in front of the INC in 1928 session and adopted unanimously. But this is a very important moment. Before I go into the recommendations, I want to discuss it with you. Jinnah was not part of this. Do we understand Simon Commission and Nehru Report? Because then I want to discuss a very important recommendation of this committee. Nehru Report is the answer to the challenge from the British. And the first point is very simply, the Nehru Report was the first time an all-party conference happened in 1928, but was unanimously accepted by the Congress, and that would lead to a lot of issues within the Congress itself. So I will discuss the recommendations with you, but I have to discuss the most important recommendation of the Nehru Report, which is the concept of dominion status. Can I tell you what does dominion status actually mean? Motilal Nehru was the head of this committee, and that is why it's called Nehru Report. It's not named after Jawaharlal Nehru, it's named after Motilal Nehru, father of Jawaharlal Nehru, and this is going to change everything. Remember, Simon Commission came in 1927. It had to come in 1929. It's called the Indian Statutory Commission. And thereafter, Indians start to criticize. So Lord Binkerhead is going to say, write your own constitution. We respond through this. We all are on the same page, same plane. Then I talk about dominion status, because this word is going to become very important very quickly. Okay. Now, the most important recommendation which came was that dominion status on the lines of self-governing dominions as the form of government desired by Indians. And this is what Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose will not like. But what do you mean by dominion status? Dominion status. Now, I'll give you a very simple example of this, and you will automatically understand it. Today, India is a sovereign country. It's a sovereign country. It has its own internal politics, internal affairs, and external affairs. We have the power to control our own internal politics and external politics. We have two executives, the president and the prime minister. De jure power in name is with the president. De facto power, real power is with the prime minister. So when and not if, but when, the day you will clear the examination and you will get selected to IS or any of the services, the letter of appointment will come to your house. And the appointment letter is going to say a very important line. It will start by saying, the President of India has the pleasure of appointing your name to the Indian Administrative Service. To the Indian Administrative Service. So the ultimate executive, the President appoints to you to the All India Services 312, Article 312. Basically, it will say the President has the pleasure, the head of the state. Now, if today we were not a sovereign country, but a dominion of the British, even though you have cleared the UPSC in India and you still have the Prime Minister, it would say the Queen of England has the pleasure of appointing you to the Indian Administrative Service. So basically, dominion status means, now King of England, the dominion status means that even though we have responsible government in India and we have our own executive and our own parliament and our own structure, the ultimate executive, the head of state, is not Indian but is the King or Queen of England. This is called dominion. We are internally free, but we are externally bound by the British head of state. Head of state. Australia and New Zealand are very good examples of this, which still accept the king, now the King of England, as their head of state or ultimate executive. And this is called dominion status. This is called dominion status. Now, in a way, this is also self-rule. In a way, this is also self-rule. But is it within or is it outside the British rule? It is within. It is within. And this is the basic point, that this type of self-rule accepts the overlordship of the colonial itself. And the British have a very good fancy name for it, which is called Commonwealth. But it's not the Commonwealth of you and me, but it's the wealth of these monarchs. Of these monarchs. Though India today is voluntarily a part of the Commonwealth nations, but the concept of Commonwealth is that what is common to most of the Commonwealth countries, now most of the Caribbean countries are also removing that, is that their head of the state is the King and Queen of England. So when, yes, Abhinav, very good. When a country is under dominion status, it does not have sovereignty because the executive power is somehow dispersed to a different country itself. Do we all agree what does dominion status mean? Yashika, that is all make-believe. What is Commonwealth? Word Commonwealth is nothing but used for British Empire. You called poison a cocktail, but it still remains a poison. The simple point of the matter, and the SME will just push the Commonwealth understanding to you in the comment section. But the Commonwealth today and British Empire were the same thing. Simple point of the matter, if you are under the British under Dominion, we have voluntarily chose. We don't accept the king and queen as but when the queen died, did we keep our flag at half mast? Yes or no? Yes, we did. We actually honored her with 2 minutes silence because we are a Commonwealth country as a sign of respect. But in any other country, Commonwealth country, it was 7 days of mourning. The simple point, very simple point. Responsible government is with us, but ultimate executive is English. Can we all agree? I will tell you, see, understand one thing. We voluntarily entering into Commonwealth today is not a sign of weakness. That's technically being cool. That we technically are sovereign, but chalo maaf kiya. That we still have so much idealism in our foreign policy that we want to be part of your bigger organization that ways. So we are not subordinated by the Commonwealth, but we are part of the Commonwealth voluntarily as a sign of our own sovereignty. We choose to be in it. That is our way of asserting of sovereignty. Separate issue altogether. What does Motilal Nehru ask for? Dominion status. Now do you understand what is dominion status? Yes? Now this word is going to become very important for you. Dominion status. Which is, we want responsible government in India. However, the ultimate king and queen should be English. Yeah, we enter Commonwealth without affecting our sovereignty. It is rather a marker of our sovereignty that we entered it into. Yes, see Praveen, today who signs all laws once they are passed by the Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha? The President of India. If we would be a dominion status, who would sign it? The king or the queen. So now you automatically understand it. You get it. Basically, ultimate executive, topmost executive is going to be the king and queen. Perfect. So now listen to me. When Motilal Nehru will ask for dominion status, he's asking for partial freedom. And the biggest opposition will actually not come from anywhere else, but his own son. Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose will be very quick to point out that this was never the plan. That we are going to go for dominion. But somehow the INC had such a conservative streak at this point of time. The old style leaders were not able to fathom something bigger and better. That is why dominion status is considered a dangerous precedence which Motilal Nehru had created. And that is why within 1 year of this, Jawaharlal Nehru will very straightforward go to Gandhi and say this was never the plan. Gandhi will say that we will ask for the British for dominion status, and there will be a context for this dominion status also, which I will discuss with you on Monday, because Irwin will say something which is called the Pahlavi Declaration. Irwin will say that the ultimate, now you see how the British exploit our words. Once Nehru report comes through, now the British will say, our ultimate purpose is to give you dominion status. So the British technically have absorbed this wrong concept from the Nehru report. And in order to undercut this, and this is the politics we discuss on Monday, and the timeline I will give you, Jawaharlal Nehru is going to go for in Lahore session when he was the president, with Subhash Chandra Bose standing by him. He will say, no, we don't want dominion status. The ultimate purpose of India or Indians and the INC is not dominion, but Purna Swaraj, complete independence. We don't want dominion status. And thereafter, you will see, be it August offer or be it the Cripps mission, the British will do this drama, dominion, dominion, dominion. And the ironical part of the story is, these bastards, when they gave the Indian Independence Act, they still wrote the word dominion on it. The Indian Independence Act says that the British now create two dominions called India and Pakistan, who will have their own constituent assemblies and they will write their constitution. This is the level of irritation they create for us, that even after being very, very clear that we don't want dominion status throughout 1929 to 1947, still they will be writing this word dominion, and we'll talk about it. In 1947, India Independent Acts will still use the word dominion. Swaraj and dominion are not same. Purna Swaraj and dominion are not same. Dominion means you want to be under the British somehow. Can we all now agree to this word? I will discuss this politics with you of how the British now misuse this term throughout our history hereon. Saifuddin, because basically it said it has its own constituent assembly. So we will, first thing we will do is we'll remove the concept of dominion. We will say we want to be a Republic of India. Okay. So very simply, don't have to go so forward in the story. But I'm telling you one thing very simply, as of right now, can we agree what is dominion? If it is clear, then I tell you the recommendations of the what we call as Nehru report, and thereafter Jinnah. Great. Okay. We understand that dominion status means partial independence. Harshita, yes, perfect. Okay. We are not a dominion today. We are a sovereign country. We are a Republic of India. Our passport says Republic of India, which makes us basically a sovereign nation, not a dominion. We are not. There should be no doubt. Now, what are the next other interesting aspects? It rejected separate electorates. Rejected separate electorates. Then further, it demanded joint electorate with reservation of seats for Muslims at the center and in provinces where they are in minority in proportion to their population. Linguistic provinces, which is language based provinces. I will come to this when I will discuss with post-independence with you. But what is even more important is 19 fundamental rights. This is the basic concept that the origin of the fundamental rights is actually based in the concept of Nehru report. It will also ask for responsible government at center and province. Now, I will just give you a summary here because I need to discuss Jinnah with you. Please listen to me. What does the Nehru report say? Nehru report says, and this is what you remember for the exam: fundamental rights, dominion status, it rejects separate electorates, joint electorate, and thereafter, last but not the least, the concept of linguistic states. Can we remember this slide itself? Suraj, that is true. Now, tell me one thing. After reading the Nehru report, will Jinnah be very happy? उसको तो मिर्ची लग जाएगा. He will literally see this and he will start to do drama. That how can you take separate electorates away from the Muslims? Now see, I'll tell you one thing. Nobody asked Jinnah, nobody cared, nobody ever did anything, but Jinnah will create his own 14 points. He will say, I reject the Nehru report and I will issue my own 14 points. Now, no one cared. It really didn't matter. And Jinnah was just doing favor to himself. But the basic point is that this is a self-proclaimed concept. Younger leaders such as Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose regarded dominion status as a step backward, wanted complete independence. Muslim League, Hindu Mahasabha, Sikh communists were unhappy with the Nehru report. Muslim League and Sikh because of the separate electorates. And now Jinnah will have an all India conference for Muslims in which not everybody is going to turn up. And simply he will write his 14 points. Can we enjoy the 14 points? Which will be issued in 1929. Don't have to learn them. But you see the hypocrisy of Jinnah. I am just trying to show you what Jinnah self-proclaims as the mission for him. So you just enjoy. You see the hypocrisy, how he will talk about everything and then he will say, perfect, equality. You see. Now, tell me one thing. Would Jinnah want a strong center or a weak center when it comes to the concept of federalism? Would you want a strong center or weak center? He would walk a weak center because numerically, population data wise, any day India, the Hindu population would be more than the Muslim population at this point of time. So provincial power should be more so that in provinces where Muslim League has capture or control, he can control it. Center should be weak because majoritarian politics will never suit Muslim League. So you say federal constitution with residual powers with provinces. You see, that residual power where? Provinces. Provincial autonomy. Province can do what it wants to do. No constitutional amendment by the center without concurrence of the states constituting the Indian Federation. All legislature and elected bodies to have adequate representation of Muslims in every province without reducing the majority of Muslims in the province to a minority. Basically, even if there are a minority or a majority, they will get seats. Prasad Batra. And basic point is that Jinnah had the audacity of writing these things. Adequate representation of Muslims in service and self-governing bodies. So be it a majority state or a minority state, state should have Muslim seats for sure. Further, 1/3 of Muslims should be represented in central legislature. In any cabinet or center in the province, 1/3 or 2 Muslims. Separate electorates. No bill and resolution if 3/4 of the minority communities consider it against their interest. Any territorial redistribution of Muslim majority areas, Punjab, Bengal, Northwestern province cannot be done. Separation of Sindh from Bombay so that there can be another province. Northwestern frontier province, Baluchistan should be created. And now you see the hypocrisy. This is called hypocrisy at the highest level. You see. Full religious freedom to all communities. And this is religious freedom to everybody. Protection of Muslim rights in religion, culture, education, and language. After saying all of this, he says full religious freedom to all communities. It's a self-contradictory, self-congratulating, problematic concept itself. It's a joke. That is the basic point. He wants India to be such a country in which states dictate everything. This is called the American model. American model. So very simply, you can't talk about religious freedom, cultural identity, while saying that everywhere there should be reserved seats and only Muslim agenda. American model in India and America are different type of republics, you know, right? India is a holding together federation. They are a coming together federation. In India, the center holds the states. And only one constitution is there. In America, there are two constitutions. Every state has a constitution and the center has a constitution. So it's coming together federation. The states, that's why it's called United States of America. We are called Republic of India. We're not called United States of India. We're called Republic of India that way. So you're getting my point, right? See, it doesn't really matter what Jinnah said. Nobody was listening. And he can do what he wants to do, but you see his vision, how delusional he is. How delusional he is. So now what we are going to do is we are going to stop here with regards to INC politics. And now I want to go to revolutionary activities again. I'll talk about Deepavali Declaration and Purna Swaraj on Monday. I want to now shift to the second phase of revolutionary activities and talk about Bhagat Singh, Lahore conspiracy case, HRA, HSRA. Yes? Are we all on the same page? Any issues? No issues? Great. Now, the 1920s period is a very interesting phase all across the world and also in India. Because there's one ideology which will technically come to India. Nehru report was unanimously supported by the Congress in the session. One ideology which will come to India from Russia, and that will become a very important concept which is called socialism. Now, when I will teach you world history, I will have a proper discussion with you with regards to Marxism, socialism, communism. I will discuss ideologies with you when I'll discuss Russian Revolution with you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a working definition of socialism. I'm going to give you a working definition of socialism, which I hope we can agree to as of right now. As of right now. Because socialism is linked to Marxism, it's linked to communalism or communist understanding. It's a much bigger concept, needs at least 1 hour discussion, which is not needed here, but in world history. Because you have to understand it vis-a-vis Bolsheviks, Lenin, this and that. So, as of right now, I will give you a workable definition of socialism and what is called Indian conception of socialism. And can we agree to that? Can we agree to that? Yes, we can. Very good. Now, what does socialism technically mean? Socialism is also mentioned in our preamble. It's an important concept. And basically, socialism argues that the nation and the government should be pro-workers, peasant, and lower classes of society. It is in a way anti-industrialist and anti what we call as colonialist or imperialist. It's about equality amongst all and government controlled industries. In India, the example of socialism is BHEL, BSNL, MTNL, HUL. These are government controlled PPP, public private partnership. Now, socialism basically is about welfare. It's about welfare and people's politics or people's politics. Indian Railways, yes. Now, simple point is, if you are a socialist, you are anti-landlord, anti-industrialist, anti what we call as planter, anti-mill owner. Simply, you want the lower classes of the society to be the focus, and very important, yes, anti-zamindar. Can we agree to these features? Anybody has an issue with these features? Your nation and government should help and should represent the peasant and the worker. Anti-industrialist, equality amongst all, government-controlled industries, and anybody who has privilege, you're anti that person. We all can agree? As I said, I will discuss this whole concept with Marxism with you. And if you are, for example, really interested right now, if you're really interested about socialism right now, on our YouTube channel, you can go to the knowledge series and there would be a video by me called Marxism. I would ask the SME to just push that link of YouTube. It's under the category of knowledge series Marxism. The SME, please just push that YouTube link which is related to Marxism. When I will discuss this with you, the concept of means of production, mode of production, class consciousness, vulgar Marxism, structural Marxism, base, superstructure. I will discuss everything with you. But if you are really curious, you can take out half an hour and discuss that with me on YouTube. But if we all can agree to this basic definition, we can talk about the HRA, HSRA, and thereafter Bhagat Singh. Can we discuss that? Found it? Chalwadi, perfect. Just push the link here in the comments. I will make it public. So just push the YouTube link. Yes, the subject member expert has pushed it. Very good. Chalwadi, you can also do it. The exact link. Very good. Perfect. So you can go to it and you can understand it if you are really interested in it. Because what Bhagat Singh embodied was socialism. That is why it's important. But when I will say Bhagat Singh, all this will come to your mind with regards to his orientation about the people. Yes or no? Can we all agree to this? Very good. Okay. So now the first wave of revolutionary activity is going to come out of the frustration of the NCM. So the revolutionaries, as it is, faced a lot of repression during the First World War. In 1920s, they were not very happy with the Montfort reforms. Under the persuasion of Gandhi and C.R. Das, they also become a part of the non-cooperation movement. But the sudden withdrawal is going to lead to disillusionment. And with the rise of certain important journals such as Atma Shakti, Sarthi, Bijoli, and books such as Bandi Jeevan by Sachin Sanyal, Panther Dabi by S. Chatterjee, books which were banned, now the whole revolutionary ideology was again rising. But socialism in India had also come in different forms and it was embodied. Where did we see this name? Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee. In the previous question. So if we had done this concept, we would have done this question or this concept, we would have known that he is technically HRA member. But Jogendra Chandra Chatterjee, Surya Sen, Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, Chandrasekhar Azad, Shiv Verma, Bhagwati Charan Vora, Jaydev Kapoor and Jatin Das all embody this new ideology. However, before we go to the HRA, revolutionary activity in India had also taken different forms. In the form of what we call as trade unionism, and basically, the All India Trade Union Congress had been created, and socialism was entering into India. So we have Jawaharlal Nehru, who was talking about youth activism via the 1928 All Bengal Students Conference. We have peasant agitations which were rising. So in the United Province, in the UP sector, tenancy laws were being revised, low rents were being paid, peasant movements were happening all across Andhra Pradesh, Rayatwari Bombay sector. Bordoli Satyagraha is going to happen, where Vallabhbhai Patel is going to get his Sardar title, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So he will show that, technically in Gujarat, he will show that basically Satyagraha works. And at the same point of time, Trade Union Congress in 1920, it will be formed. All India Trade Union Congress, very standard question which comes in the examination. All India Trade Union Congress, who was the first president? Lala Lajpat Rai, and what is called Dewan Chaman Lal was the general secretary. Very, very important. Very, very, very important. Comes in the examination quite a lot of times. We will have strikes which will happen in the Kharagpur Railway, in Tata Iron and Steel Works, Jamshedpur, Bombay Textile Mills, and even in the Buckingham Carnatic Mills. So all across India, the wave of socialism is spreading. Workers want their rights. And in 1928, close to 5 lakh workers are going to go on strike. And in 1923 itself, we had already seen that May Day, the concept of Labor Day, was organized in India. So basic point is, when we talk about Bhagat Singh and socialism, socialism was spreading in India very quickly under the concept of workers' welfare. Now comes the two concepts. The HRA and the HSRA. So basically, what we've discussed is the different forms of socialistic practices in India, with youth movement, with peasant movement, with worker movement. All of this is happening parallelly. The ideas of socialism will trickle from Russia from 1917, will become very, very pronounced in 1920s. Jawaharlal Nehru, himself a socialist with Subhash Chandra Bose, is going to push for students' movement. And the All India Trade Union Congress, basically trade unions, which are workers' unions, become very important. Worker strikes are happening independent of the national movement. This is what I'm trying to tell you, that all of this is happening independent of the national movement. And then there are two organizations which were very, very important in the revolutionary activities phase. Now you get the context. All of that is happening in the background. We are now going to concentrate on two organizations. We discussed Anushilhan Samiti and Yugantar, Mitra Mela and Abhinav Bharat. Now we'll discuss two organizations called HRA and HSRA. Can we discuss it? Because I have to have a very important discussion with you with regards to the Lahore conspiracy case. Very good. Perfect. So, in the Punjab, UP, Bihar sector, the first organization which had come after the repression which had been seen during the Gadar movement and Anushilhan Samiti is called the Hindustan Revolutionary Association or Army, or called the HRA. HRA was formed in October of 1924 in Kanpur by three very important personalities: Ram Prasad Bismil, Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee, and Sachin Sanyal. Now, do you get the fact that that name given in the previous year question was not an obscure name? He's one of the founding members of the HRA. And that is why UPSC asked you that question. So, very simply, Ram Prasad Bismil and one of the very, not a towering member, but a member of this is going to also be Chandrasekhar Azad. Sachin Sanyal, we've already heard with regards to Hardin bombing. Now, the aim was to organize an armed revolution to overthrow the colonial government. They are called Hindustan Republican Association, which means that they want to create one Republic of India. He's related to Gadar movement also. Very good. And the only important activity which they were able to do is called the Kakori robbery. It's called the Kakori robbery, in which they wanted to loot a down train. Train goes up and down. So 8 down train at Kakori near Lucknow, and they wanted to loot the official railway cache. See, the biggest issue which most of these revolutionaries have is money, because money needs to be mobilized. So they technically choose the Kakori 8 down train to loot it. However, as soon as the Kakori robbery will happen, the 17 people who are involved will be jailed and 4 will be transported for life. And these 4 is going to be Ram Prasad Bismil, Asafullah Khan, Roshan Singh and Rajendra Lahiri. And these 4 will be hanged, and Kakori will be a major setback to the HRA. So when we talk about your preparation, what do you need to remember here? HRA, Ram Prasad Bismil, you have Jogen Chandra Chatterjee, and you have Sachin Sanyal. And their only important activity, 1924-1925, is basically the Kakori robbery. And thereafter, they will be technically... Chandrasekhar Azad was not there at that day, but he was associated with the HRA. Kakori robbery is going to be a major setback, but Chandrasekhar Azad, who was a minor member at this point of time, will take the HRA forward, or the tradition of HRA forward. Can we all agree to this three facts? Because what really matters to us is the next, which is HSRA. Done? This is prelims oriented topic. Now, very good. Now, when we talk about HRA was kept alive in the heart of Chandrasekhar Azad. And revolutionary activity was never going to go forward too much, except for one incident. And the incident is Lala Lajpat Rai's death. The incident is Lala Lajpat Rai's death, the Sher-e-Punjab's death, because basically Lala Lajpat Rai will be killed by one British officer called Saunders when he will be protesting against the Simon Commission. So there will be a protest which Lala Lajpat Rai would be heading, and he will be chanting at this point of time, "Go back, Simon, Simon, go back." The police will lathi charge. And whilst everybody ran away, Lala Lajpat Rai stood his ground, and Saunders will literally start to hit. Scott and Saunders both are involved. But Saunders was considered to be the more brutal one. Scott and Saunders both. Now, he will stand his ground. As I'm saying, three policemen was around him. Scott, Saunders and one more. But it was Saunders who actually did not listen to even Scott, and Scott, they were given orders not to repeatedly hit Lala Lajpat Rai from their what we call as superior. Basic point is, he will stand his ground. He will keep on saying, "Go back, Simon, Simon, go back." And these two will keep on hitting Lala Lajpat Rai on his head till his last breath. He will be martyred chanting, "Simon, go back, Simon." This was the commitment of Lala Lajpat Rai to his cause. And this incident is seen as the genesis of how Ajit Singh's nephew, along with Chandrasekhar Azad, Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad, and 3-4 other important members of the HSRA will meet in Firozshah Kotla. And they will say that we will now again constitute HRA, but now as HSRA, Hindustan Socialist Republican Army or Association. And now the HSRA's main target was avenge the death of Sher-e-Punjab. Simple point. So, very simply, the Kakori setback will lead to the inspiration of socialist ideas coming in, and the Hindustan Republican Association will reconvene with Azad embodying it in September of 1928. And under the leadership of Chandrasekhar Azad, the HRA will be renamed as Hindustan Socialist Republican Association. And the people who met that day, Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, Bhagwati Charan Vora from Punjab, Bijoy Kumar Sinha, Shiv Verma, and Jaydev Kapoor from United Province. The HSRA will now work under the goal of socialism and overthrowing the British, but their most important concept was avenge the death of Sher-e Punjab. Bhagat Singh will be influenced by the ideas of Marx and Lenin. He will embody the ideas of socialism. They wanted to abolish the Zamindari system. Their two most important war cry, Inqilab Zindabad, Rang De Basanti. Long live the revolution. And their target is not going to be only the British, but all Indian capitalists, zamindars, kings, and communal forces. And one thing which Bhagat Singh talks about quite a lot is communalism. But somehow today we forget what he said about communalism, which I'm going to refresh your memory with. Basic point is, these men with the communist ideology and the socialist impulse and the fire to avenge Sher-e Punjab's death will now do two major events which I want to discuss with you. We all understand the context of HRA becoming HSRA, right? Lathi charge blows, he will succumb to his injuries. Now you please listen to me. Kakori robbery, 1925, HRA after that will cease to exist or will be very, very, very thinly spread because of the crackdown. Now, the first act which the HSRA is going to do is called Saunders assassination or Saunders murder. In order to avenge Saunders, or rather in order to avenge Sher-e Punjab, now in Lahore, Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Chandrasekhar Azad will plan a conspiracy to kill the two officers who were available at that day or were there who killed Lala Lajpat Rai, Saunders and Scott, but Scott was not there that day. Their main target was actually Scott, but their contemplation was that Saunders is good enough. Now, very heroically, in a scenic fashion, Bhagat Singh will himself go up to Saunders and shoot him. And the beauty of the Lahore incident, Saunders murder, is that neither of them is going to get caught. Neither of them is going to get caught. But I want to read out one pamphlet which was then circulated by them, just the starting point of it. And I want you to just listen to what they wanted to say. Can I read out this basic notice which they actually put on the walls along Lahore? And what they said was, notice. Listen to me. Notice. It's a very good book. If you get time, Trial of Bhagat Singh, A.G. Nurani. I'll give you the reference of it also. Very good book. Talks about Bhagat Singh quite a lot, and I'll give you important excerpts out of it. It said, notice by the Hindustan Socialist Republican Army. Now you see the line. Bureaucracy beware. With the death of J.P. Saunders, the assassination of Lala Lajpat Rai has been avenged. And it is a matter of great regret that a respected leader of 30 crore of the people was attacked by an ordinary police officer like Saunders and met with his death with his mean hands. The national insult was a challenge to the young men of India. Today, the world has seen that the people of India are not lifeless. Their blood was not becoming cold. They lay down, they can lay down their lives for the country's honor. The proof of this is been given by the youth who are ridiculed and insulted by the leaders of their own country. Tyrant government, beware. It's literally an exact excerpt. This is the notice which they pasted. It is chilling. It's goosebumps it gives you. That what is his understanding? Bureaucracy, beware. Bureaucracy, beware. And the beauty of this story is none of them will get caught. See, I don't need to do this with you, but I want you to give a very comprehensive understanding of why is Bhagat Singh so important and why is this case so very important. So, in the Saunders murders, nobody is actually caught. And the story is that the police had no idea only. The police had no idea who is the HSRA. The police had no idea Bhagat Singh did it. And the police had no idea with regards to who these three men were. Saunders murder is clear. The message is clear. The youth have spoken. Avenge the death of Lala Lajpat Rai. Yes? Now what they plan next is the Central Legislative Bombing, 1929, in which Patukeshwar Dutt and Bhagat Singh himself said that we will create the courts, the judicial court as an arena of politics. And what Bhagat Singh wanted to prove, they got to know about the HSRA now, but they didn't know who were the members. What Bhagat Singh actually wanted to prove, and he actually successfully did it, was that law doesn't matter to the British. Law doesn't matter to the British. All this drama which they do, rule of law, we the mighty British rule of law, he wanted to prove that if it came to prosecuting someone, they will subvert their own structure and systems itself. And that is why he went to the concept of bomb became important, because bomb was about making the deaf ear hear. They said, you can't hear, we will keep and give a bomb on your ear and you will start to hear everything. So the concept of the bomb became important because it was about India becoming explosive, but also about making the British deaf ear to the Indian cries hear. The bomb was made non-lethal. The bomb was made non-lethal. It was a sounding bomb. It was thrown in the Central Legislative Assembly when two very, very bad acts were being passed: Public Safety Bills and Trade Disputes Bill, 1929. And they will throw it in the lobby area of the Central Legislative Assembly, where nobody sits. And unlike other revolutionaries or someone else, Bhagat Singh did not run away. They wanted to court arrest. So as Inqilab Zindabad on his lips, he will get arrested. He will get arrested. Till this point, everybody is with me, because now comes the interesting part, which no book will tell you. The interesting part of the story is when Bhagat Singh got arrested, the British didn't know that he's the same person who shot Saunders. They didn't know only. They knew somebody shot Saunders, but when Bhagat Singh and Dutt were arrested, later the HSRA members will be arrested, they had no idea that Bhagat Singh was the person who was actually the one who shot Saunders. And that is why the initial sentencing is going to happen in front of a magistrate court, or what is called a sessions court. And whenever they were going there, they were just going to say, Inqilab Zindabad. Do you want to defend yourself? Inqilab Zindabad. Taken away. Do you want to defend yourself? Inqilab Zindabad. Gone back. They created the arena of the court as a type of a moment of resistance. And basically, the Sessions Court is also going to sentence Bhagat Singh. But you know what was the initial sentence of Bhagat Singh? What was the initial sentence? Any guess? It was not hanging. It was life imprisonment, maximum 7 to 8 years to life imprisonment. This was the basic consideration which was there in 1929. But then, how did the British get to know that Bhagat Singh is the same man who had shot Saunders? And therein comes the story of approvers. Basically, and I'll give you the names also, not that, basically, under British torture and under British pressure, some members of the HSRA will become what are called police approvers. A approver is a person who actually was one of the person who was a victim, but for a lesser sentence, he becomes a police witness. He becomes a police witness. So basically, they are ready to become police witness for a lesser sentence. You plead guilty and you become a police witness. But this has to be a voluntary act. See, because of the protest which the HSRA was doing in the jails, because of the pathetic conditions, and because of the martyring of Jatin Das itself, after 61 days of fast, the police created too much pressure on the HSRA. And I would like to tell you who are the 6 approvers who actually told the British under pressure that Bhagat Singh is the same person who shot Saunders. Do you know their names? Want to know their names? Okay. The first approver is Jay Gopal, all members of the HSRA. Fonindra Nath Ghosh, Manmohan Banerjee, but the most dangerous of all of them, Lalit Kumar Mukherjee. There were one more, I will tell you how it was removed. Hans Raj Vora was the one who, under pressure, technically, who sold off Bhagat Singh. Jay Gopal and Hans Raj Vora. And what is even more dangerous is, now as soon as I will tell you, there is 2 approvers who were removed. I'll tell you that also. As soon as, listen to me, as soon as the British got to know, now please pay attention, this is the discussion I want to have with you. Now you see how the British subvert their own legal law. As soon as the British got to know that the Sessions Court is prosecuting a person called Bhagat Singh, who is the same person who shot Saunders, now Irwin will become extremely active. The Viceroy will get to know that there's one person who represents revolutionary activities in India, and now Bhagat Singh was going to be made an example by the British. You imagine this. Irwin issued an ordinance of emergency ordinance to constitute a new 3-member High Court judge-based court, which is called a special court. Where was this concept coming from? The 3-member High Court judges court. Where have we done this? Rowlatt Act. Very good. So he uses the Rowlatt Act provision, and not even that. The more absurd aspect is, does prosecuting Bhagat Singh constitute as a national emergency on British India? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But Irwin will use the National Emergency Clause, 21B it is called, to actually create a special court for Bhagat Singh now. For Bhagat Singh. And now these approvers will be called to this sessions court or to this special court to technically say that we know that this person is Saunders' murderer. But you know, there's a clause in British jurisprudence. Everybody is following this concept. You will not find it anywhere else. I'm trying to give you a basic understanding. What is more interesting is that under the police approvers concept, if an approver says that the police is creating pressure on me, all approvers' testimonies are taken back. You have to do it voluntarily. Now, Lalit Kumar Mukherjee and Ram Sharan Das are actually going to put in two petitions in front of this court. Can I read it out what this petition said? The petition said, I wish to put it in a document which shows how approvers are tortured. I hand in the document. I do not wish to remain in the custody of the police. This document was given to me by the police officer who told me to learn it by heart. This was shown me off and on by officers who was with me. It passed from one officer to the other. I hand in this document. Let this witness sent to judicial lockup and not the custody of the police. This is what the notice will be sent by Ram Sharan Das and Lalit Kumar Mukherjee. Basically, Ram Sharan Das will literally prove to the court that the witnesses, the approvers were being tortured. However, the British will simply remove Ram Sharan Das, who was in this list. They will strike off his name, but they will say all approvers' testimony stand. Again, against British law. These mighty British who talk about law. Basically, Irwin was going to do hook, crook, subvert law to make sure that Bhagat Singh would be hanged. And the last and the most interesting or dangerous aspect of this court was, out of these three judges, there was one Indian judge. He will actually recuse himself. He will say, I cannot work in a court in which no law is being passed or no law is being followed. And under the national emergency law, if this special court judge recuses itself, at least 3 months notice is there before a new judge should be appointed. Indian judge will leave today, tomorrow new judge will be appointed. Are you getting my point? The whole process of telling you this story is that the British are just a big heap of hypocrisy. They will make sure that Bhagat Singh will be hanged, and they will make sure that the sentencing will be done in such a way so as to create an example of Bhagat Singh. Bhagat Singh set out to prove only one thing, which is that the British were hypocrites and law meant nothing to him or to them. And basically, they technically, or he himself had actually proven that that is true, because everything in this book or anything which you will see in the Lahore conspiracy case trial, only subversion of law was there, no law was followed. So I hope that you understand that British did not even know that Bhagat Singh was actually the same person who shot Saunders. Saunders' murder case will be linked up with Bhagat Singh because of the approvers. In a way, it was the weakness of the approvers, but they were under pressure, whatever it may be. Today, Hansraj Vohra's family stays in London. The basic point of that fact is all of these men will be left alone, but Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev and Rajguru will thereafter pay the price for the approvers. The main point is we'll talk about Gandhi's role in the Gandhi-Irwin Pact on Monday, and we'll talk about why Irwin was not ready, or what is Gandhi's, can or could Gandhi have saved Bhagat Singh. We'll discuss that point. Simple point of the matter is Chandrasekhar Azad is going to try to do something daring. He will also martyr himself. If you understand this discussion, I would like to go into the details, which are standard details you find in books. This is a unique discussion I have with all my students, because you need to know the larger picture of Lahore conspiracy case, right? If you need the name of the book, it is called The Trial of Bhagat Singh by a person called A.G. Noorani. Very, very beautifully written book. Has a lot of details about all of this. Now, what I want to do is just complete the story of the HSRA, and then that is enough for today. Can we do that? Okay, perfect, great. So the first activity which was done by the HSRA was when they will try to avenge the death of Sher-e-Punjab via individual assassination. Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad, Rajguru will shoot Saunders, a police officer who was responsible for the lathi charge in Lahore. The next is going to be the central legislative bombing, in which people knew about the changing objectives of the HSRA, but the revolution by masses was something important, which I will discuss with you. Bhagat Singh and Patukeshwar Dutt are going to throw a bomb in the Central Legislative Assembly on 8th April 1929 against the passage of the Public Safety Bill and Trade Disputes Bill. This was going to curtail the civil rights of the people and the workers specifically. That is why this date. Thereafter, the bomb was deliberately thrown in a harmless area to only make the deaf ear hear. The objective was to get arrested and use the court as a forum to propagate the aspect and ideology of the HSRA. Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev and Rajguru will be then tried under Lahore conspiracy case or the Lahore conspiracy trials. In the jails, the revolutionaries protested against the horrible conditions and they fasted for honorable treatment like political prisoners. However, in this process, one of our revolutionaries is going to be martyred, Jatin Das, on the 64th day of his fast. Whilst all of this was happening, Chandrasekhar Azad will himself try to blow up Irwin's train in Delhi in 1929. Azad was killed in an encounter with the police in Allahabad on February of 1931. And 1931, they will be hanged on 23rd March. We will discuss the story in between this on Monday with regards to basically what is the role of Gandhi in this whole story. Are we all clear about the facts? Because then we talk about Bhagat Singh and end the class. We already discussed Bhagat Singh as a personality, but we have to discuss how there was a change within Bhagat Singh itself and the relevance of Bhagat Singh today. Okay. Simple point. Even before his arrest, Bhagat Singh had moved away from the belief of violent heroic activities to the concept of a popular broad-based movement, and that is why the whole concept of quoting arrest. He believed only a revolution by the masses, by for the masses, could actually get or could actually yield Indian independence. So Bhagat Singh himself started with individual assassination, which is Saunders' murder. By the end of it, he believed that the people's movement is the only way to go forward. And this change can be seen in him because in 1926 itself, he had established the Punjab Naujawan Bharat Sabha, and it was about creating the youth and making them aware of how colonialism works and how they need to resist it. It had branches in all villages. And one of the most interesting features and the relevance of Bhagat Singh today is that Bhagat Singh was fully secular. 2 of his 6 rules drafted by him for the Sabha was that members would have nothing to do with communal bodies and they would propagate a general feeling of tolerance among people considering religious as a matter of religious personal belief. Somehow you don't have to learn this, but I'm telling you, somehow we forgot this idea. Though we talk about Bhagat Singh today quite a lot in different contexts, unfortunately, we forgot one thing because Bhagat Singh always said that the only way India survives is through tolerance. And that is something we've actually forgot today. He will organize a lot of different movements, the Lahore Students' Union, which will be about students' politics itself. They will also understand that revolution meant organization and development of mass movement. Real revolutionary armies are in the villages and factories, basically the peasant and the worker. The simple point of the matter is, he remains relevant today. We'll talk about Chittagong later. He remains relevant till today. He is a living example of these ideals. And basically, when we meet on Monday again, we'll talk about basically Surya Sen, Bengal, which is how Bengal will go into a certain different direction itself. And we'll talk about the Chittagong Surya Sen and the Chittagong Army Raid. Small discussion, 10-15 minutes. But now our story is going to go very quickly into what we call as Lahore conspiracy cases, death of Saunders plus legislative bombing together. Initially, that was not part of it. So what we will discuss on Monday, is basically, we'll start with Irwin's declaration. We'll talk about Gandhi-Irwin Pact, CDM, Salt Satyagraha, and then we'll talk about Government of India Act 1935. Government of India 1935. Then on Tuesday, we have a very interesting discussion. The Pavlari Declaration will start, 35. We'll have a very interesting discussion between Bose and Gandhi. Though nobody really teaches it, I will teach you there because there can be a theoretical question. What is the difference between Bose and Gandhi? Which is that why does Bose and Gandhi not go together? We'll put in Nehru into that mix also. And once we're done with Bose and Gandhi, we'll reach till Cripps Mission 1942, Quit India, INA, RIN Mutiny, Cabinet Mission, Wavell Plan, Mountbatten, and basically we will now are in the last leg of our discussion. Till Thursday, we will go till modern India. Friday, Saturday, and Monday, I'm adding an extra class because we lost close to 45 minutes on the first class itself. Roundtable conferences, everything will be done. Ambedkar and Gandhi will also be done. And we will discuss on next Monday, 6th March will be our last class. But last 3 classes is post-independence, in which I'll discuss with you linguistic reorganization, official language controversy, the wars, regional inequality, and then you will get independence from me on 6th March itself. We gave independence to India on Thursday. Done? 1st March. No, Nidhi, no. You want a mains practice question from here? I'll give that to you also. Holi would be a holiday. Any extra class, Labidi, as I said, Saturday, 4th March is going to be one extra class to make up that technical glitch. 4th March, Saturday, I will tell you the time by next week. Saturday, 4th March, I will take an extra class just to make up that 45 minutes. We'll have a 3-hour class, but we'll make up that. Okay. Yes, Hussain, you can go. Anush, Sen, you can go. Very simply, if you don't have a question, thank you so much. I will see you on Monday again. Please take care. Have a very, very comrade they used to call it because of the socialist influence. Very simply, you wanted a question on the HSRA. See, the HRA and HSRA represent in Indian history the frustration of the mainstream politics and a rekindling of revolutionary spirit. Discuss. It's a difficult question though. 150 words. You have to talk about why did the HRA HSRA emerge, which is disillusionment with the concept of. So it will happen, Gulam, before it. Don't worry about that. It will happen before it. HSRA, HRA, mainstream politics, basically the reasons why revolutionary activities emerged and how they rekindled the spirit. We have to talk about Kakori, Saunders murders and Central Legislative Assembly. In that extra class, Mohammed, I will discuss with you, don't worry, answer writing. I will discuss with you answer writing very soon. Proper discussion with regards to these words, what is explained, critically examined, this and that. I will discuss it with you. Don't worry about that. That is my responsibility. I will not leave you without basically making every aspect clear and perfect. Right? Thank you. Thank you so much. I will see you on Monday again. I hope that